This is Speak Up. I am Sandra Schulte. Welcome back to our show. Today I'm so happy to have Professor Saul B. Troen with us. He is going to talk to us about a very novel, and I will read that, novel, new method of receiving and transmitting information to anyone who has a computer, does not have a computer, but does have a cell phone. Professor, welcome to our show, Professor.
Thank you.
Professor Saul Troen is a Renaissance person, a scholar and inventor. As a leading shaker and mover, he blends education and technology to enhance creative and intellectual development and leadership values in learners and in teachers of all ages. His expertise includes distant learning strategies, strategic planning, curricular design, and community development. He leads by defining and encouraging, building and communicating values and goals. Professor Troen is a Boston native, an MA, and a graduate of Boston Latin School. He holds an undergraduate degree from Brandeis University, an MA degree from the Hebrew University, Jerusalem, and the Graduate School for Political Management, and has an MS degree from New York Institute of Technology. His PhD is from New York University. Professor Troen's expertise spans several radically different areas. On the other hand, he is a scholar of the ancient Near East. On the other hand, he's an expert and resource person for the use of technology for education and telemedicine and distance learning. He's a classroom teacher and inventor. Early in his career, he was an innovator for using technology in support of learning and training. He was vice president of training for several startup companies. He founded a teacher development institute in New York City. He guided the design of the first-year technological plan for New Jersey. How about that? He was a technology consultant to the New York City Department of Education. And on and on and on. Oh my God, the guy's so versatile. He introduced video telephones into the United States. He worked with the Veterans Administration to formulate telehealth programs. He holds the registration for the original concept and design of the smart classroom. Recently, he received a patent for the subject of this program, a handheld mobile server that enables digital information to be read without using computers, without the internet, or without an app. The chip server connects to the mobile phone, thereby creating a mobile classroom anywhere geographically. It enables learning opportunities for everyone. His chip server, by connecting to all mobile devices, phones rather, creates an affordable educational methodology, allowing vanguard ideas to be exchanged and distributed to all to keep up with our rapidly changing society and to improve people's lives. Thank you, Professor, for being here. I really appreciate it. How long have you been inventing?
Oh, I guess most of my life. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of toys, so we had to improvise. We didn't have guns, so we took a piece of wood, made a handle for it, connected it with rubber bands. So there we had a gun. And what did we shoot?
Clips.
Flies.
Oh. All right.
No, and and all along, we found different ways of playing with the games, and unfortunately, some of these games can no longer be played because there are cars in the street. When I was growing up, there were no cars in the street to speak of, so we had a lovely playground. Now we don't have that. So from that, I look at what is needed in order to get my message across to my students. And that's what's really pushed me to invent certain things or to use certain technologies in different manners.
Because there are many students that you have that maybe share a computer, maybe don't have access to a computer.
Well, many of the students that I have been teaching may have 4 children with 1 computer. Who's going to use it to do the homework? And what if the parents need it to do something for their job? The internet in many locations is sporadic. I know in the building in which I live, there are certain, if we want to put in FiOS, we can't get it. There are too few people living in the building. I've had a student in one of the colleges that I taught at, who was a Marine, and when she was mustered out and came to learn at that particular school, she had to live on the subway for 2 years because she couldn't get a place to live. When I found out, reported this to the administration, they found a place for her to live. So not everybody is fortunate enough to have all the technology that one needs today. And many of the people I speak to, they say, oh, it's on the cloud. But the cloud gives rain. And when it rains, I lose information. So I had to come up with something that would enable me, because I was teaching in 3 colleges at one point, and I have a lot of USBs, and I have my information on the USBs.
Can you show us what USB is?
This is a USB. It's also called a thumb drive, because it's as big as your thumb. And it's wonderful. You can put a lot of information on this, but there's a problem. If I don't have my computer, I can't see the information. So don't you have to get the information onto the computer, onto the thumbnail drive? Yes, but the computer can be in the library or someplace else. I'm using somebody else's computer. So I need the information, so I download it to here. Now I have to see it. But if I don't have access to the computer, I have a problem. So I spoke to somebody who was a very innovative engineer, and we worked together, and we were able to develop a product like this, which is called a chip server.
Now, you showed me a picture of that in this color and in silver. Do you need both?
Well, the reason I showed you in 2 colors, everybody's always asking me, is it only that color? Can I have it in pink? Can I have it in black? I wanted to match my dress. So anyway, so I showed you the 2. This one here I happen to like. It's nice and gold. It looks beautiful. Fits in the palm of your hand. This is a server.
Oh.
It does everything that the big servers do. The big difference is I'm not connected to the internet.
It's like a Wi-Fi system?
Correct. It has its own Wi-Fi system that it generates, and it generates its own network, so people within that network can connect to any information that's on the USB. I take my USB and I plug it in here, I turn this on, and I can then control this and watch the information on my cell phone, on my tablet.
So how does it go from there to the cell phone?
The cell phone will connect to this.
Automatically?
No, you have a few steps to go that you connect. This is called chips. That's what the name of this unit is, chips. So the Wi-Fi system that this gives off is called chips. So I then connect to the Wi-Fi system, chips. And when I go to connect, it'll tell me, oh, you're not connected to the internet. Right, I am not connected to the internet. I'm connected to chips. And since chips has the USB as its source of information, I can then watch it. But the great thing is, not only can I watch it, my whole class can watch the information on their devices. I'll give you an example. I was teaching in one school, archaeology, which is my area. To me, Greece and Rome is modern history. But anyway, I walked, no electricity. I couldn't use a computer. I couldn't use a projector. What am I supposed to do? I have visuals to show. So the information was put onto the USB. I plugged it into the chip server. I gave the students the address, because each chip server has an address, and the students connected to this on the Wi-Fi that this gives off
Through their cell phones
through their cell phones or their tablets
or whatever.
or their other devices. And I had 30 students following my class on their devices. They were so excited. But anyway, that is how we can bridge the technology gap.
So then they can go to the library, download, let's say you tell them to look at a book or a journal on certain pages. They can download it over to their thumbnail and study it at home.
Exactly correct.
And then someone else can use the same thing in the library.
Correct. And very often a library cannot afford more than 1 or 2 books to keep on reserve. Now I can have 30 people, 40 people reading the same information simultaneously through the chip server because it's connected to this particular device.
Does it only transmit information to cell phones?
No, it transmits it also to tablets and to computers and to smart TVs and also to projectors, smart projectors, as long as it is able to have to connect to to the device, to the network.
So anyway, in the picture of the device again, we saw just over here. There is the device, and there's the outlet for the thumbnail drive. And as you said, it can come in any colors.
Correct. So I have this now in gold, in silver, in black, and we're looking at some other colors as well because people are asking, I'd like to have a different color. So if we can do it, we will do it. And that makes it interesting. Or you can have a different color for each subject.
Yes, that's right. So we can receive digital images?
Oh, yes. And not only can you receive digital images, but I can project digital images as if I were using a projector. So everybody has a front row view. And you know, very often you may be in an auditorium and you can't see the screen. Now you can have the screen on your lap.
And or on your desk.
On your desk, wherever you want. And the beauty of this is secure.
Secure?
Yes, it's the most secure item there is.
Because?
It's not on the internet. And if it's not on the internet, nobody can follow what I am doing.
That is very interesting.
And I've had certain people say to me, I would be very happy to support you financially, but I want to be able to track what the student is doing. I don't want anybody to track what the student is doing. That's private for them, and I don't want that. So I don't have that.
Can it show everything a computer shows?
Anything that's digital can be seen, yes. So anything on a computer can be seen.
As long as it's downloaded into a thumbnail.
Into the thumbnail, yes. That's the source. Any thumbnail, any memory stick that you can see. So you can have your movies, you can have all your pictures with you, and you can show them to your friends, and they don't have to look over your shoulder all the time to see the same picture. And that's a help. If you take a trip, you can now show your information to your friends and your family, even if there's no projector. And you don't have to worry about the one computer for 15 people. But everyone can see it privately. So we're now freed from the whole constraints of the technology. We've broadened out what you can do.
Can one print or edit using this?
Pardon?
Can one print Or edit?
As of this moment, no. In the future, yes. We'll have printing. Right now, this has been designed as follows. I can see any movie without downloading it, or using any memory, or connecting to any software, which means that I have no worry about the degradation of an image, but I can have 50 people seeing something simultaneously, and it's streaming, without having to worry about losing speed or buffering and all of that stuff.
By downloading it, don't you have to download the movie onto the thumbnail?
No, oh yes, I have to, right. I need a source.
Yes.
So this becomes my source. And that's the important thing, that I now am free to use it. Now just think of what parents can do. They can have one of these in the back seat of the car, and all their children can now watch their own information on their own cell phones without having to yell, "Ma, so-and-so wants to watch this movie. I want to watch the other movie." So we have broadened family interaction and made peace in the family between the children.
And also, too, if you're in a car and you are in dead zones, there isn't a dead zone.
Oh,
Because
they
it's
say
just-
there are no dead zones.
But because of the chip server.
I don't have to worry about a dead zone because I have all my technology with me wherever I am. For example, medical records. How many physicians have all the records of their patients? The eye doctor doesn't know what the dentist is doing. The dentist doesn't know what the orthopedist is doing. But now I'm traveling to a country that doesn't have good medical equipment. So I can now put all my medical information on a USB, and wherever I go, if something comes up, I can show it to the physicians there. So we have another use for this.
Why can this be carried around easily?
Very easily. I'll put it in my pocket. There you are.
I mean, it weighs so little, too.
It was designed to be, it could be made little,
Smaller.
smaller, thank you. But I'm not doing it right now because I want it to be able to be seen and held, and if you drop it, you can find it easily.
That's a good reason. And also less likely to get lost.
Yeah. And also, as I say, it's secure because you can't lose it. There's another good advantage that we have here. There are many people who have certain disabilities. They don't hear very well. So you can then sign all your information, download it to the to the USB, and then you can have the person watch it on their leisure. You can put directions in a facility, and a person who is deaf can connect to this and see the writing and know what to do. So we're now expanding our connection with the population.
Why is chip a part of the name?
Because what is used to make this are chips. So we said it's a chip server. It does the service for the chip. And that's why we call the Wi-Fi chips. So I'll remember what I'm doing.
Did you need a team to assemble this, to put it together?
Yes. I find the proper engineers to be able to assemble what has to be done. Then I have it checked to make sure that it works properly. Right now, for example, there are some people in Africa who are interested in this. I was asked to give a presentation of chip server to the ambassadors from the African countries. Mm-hmm. The reason being that most of the countries do not have internet access for their students. And what happened was they saw that for the first time they can provide internet access for their students through the chip server. So now I'm working to make this unit applicable for Africa. And what we're doing is we're extending the range that this Wi-Fi will go from 50 feet to 200 feet. So we constantly see what are the needs of the people, and we adapt this to the needs of the individual. And when I say education, I'm talking about all kinds of education, K through 12, as well as adults, because they're learning. You get a job, you need information, it's given to you, you can do it on the train. You're not stuck. And I think that's very important. You can put all your books, your library with you. Think about that. And there are many books that are no longer in print, but you can get them online.
Well, certainly it can be arranged for the teacher to, instead of giving, saying go buy 50 books, here, well, you can buy the same thing on a chip server.
Exactly correct. And you download them, and then you have it for your entire class, and you can give that same information to every single student.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are children or adults, whatever, doing homeschooling, learning at home, they can have the exact same information that the kid at school has. So bringing equality into the education world. Think about it. Now every single student will have access to the same information that the most advanced country has. And that's another reason that they're interested in this information in Africa.
Why did you decide to do the manufacturing rather than farming it out?
Foolishness. I didn't realize what this is. I'm an academic.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to use technology. You remember the old reel-to-reel?
Yes, I remember.
Okay?
I'm old, sir.
All right. You don't look old. Anyway, I used to use them to do teacher training. I would go into a classroom, videotape the class, and then review it with the teacher. Okay? Those were the things I look where was the necessity. And I see that this is necessary. So that's where I go. And how did I do this? Why did I do this? As I told, I need it. And after I needed it, my colleagues said that they would like to have a copy. So I said, okay, I'll do it. Being an academic, I did not realize how much I had to learn in order to manufacture. So I'm now looking for people who I can work with to manufacture it according to their needs.
So how is it currently being used in the real world today?
In the real world, I have several teachers using this. Well, I'll give an example. One of my friends is teaching at a college which has government classrooms. Mm-hmm. And they don't allow anything to enter that classroom. So you cannot have an internet access, you can have not a computer access, or even a telephone access, because these are rooms cut off from everything for security purposes. So they put the information on the USB, they take the chip server into the classroom, and they're providing all the information to their students. Others are using this, as I mentioned to you, because...
And they can't take the chip server out of the thumbnail out of the classroom?
No, that they can take.
Mm-hmm, the thumbnail.
The thumbnail they can take with them. Mm-hmm. Also, there are people who have to make presentations. And sometimes it's difficult to take the information from the cloud, put it onto the computer, and have it work right away with a strange computer. So they have to call somebody from technology, please help me. And you waste 15 minutes by the time you have done. This I just plug in, and again, I can show it on the different students, and also on the projector that they will have going onto the screen. So I'm covering all bases. There are those, again, I mentioned, who have hearing problems. This can be used. I can put this in areas where people need directions. We're on a trail, the Appalachian Trail. You have it on certain spots.
There are certain spots where you do not get reception with a normal cell phone.
Exactly correct.
I want to thank you so much for coming
Thank
on our
you.
show. You've been very wonderful. You've been wonderful information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is Speak Up. I am Sandra Shorty. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Professor Saul Troen, and I developed a new technology, an alternate information delivery system, which does not need the internet, does not need a computer, does not need electricity, and can be used anywhere in the world by anybody. So I have all my information on a USB, and I have to see the information. What to do? I have to show it as well. So we had this particular chip server developed, which enables me to show all the information on my USB. What I do is I plug it into the receptacle here, the USB receptacle, and I turn it on. And then I take my phone, wait a few moments so that it warms up, because I'm going to disconnect from the usual internet, and I'm going to go onto the Wi-Fi that is coming from my chip server. It tells me that I'm not connected to the internet. Wonderful, that's exactly what I want to happen. So then I go down here and I go to the desktop of my phone and I click on one of the browsers and up comes the information that I need. So I'm going to now click on a PDF that I can then view, and I can allow my students to view it, and I give my students the address of the chip server so that they can then view the same information that I am viewing on the screen of my phone. That's why this is a versatile hybrid information system, teaching system. I can use it by myself. Every student can use it individually. They can share the information with groups and even project it to a large audience.